Hello and welcome back to the deserts of Total War Rome 2, and yes folks, we have another Sub-Commanders multiplayer battle. If you are not familiar with Sub-Commanders, in this case it's 3 versus 3, there's 3 players, one handles the melee infantry, another handles the spears and missiles, mostly missiles but it's also got spears, and then the other handles the cavalry. So each has a role, each gets 5,000 gold to choose their army, and in this case we're also using a mod that I do have linked down in the description. This one is the Unconquered Sun mod that was made specifically to help create some good games in Sub-Commanders. So that means there's new general abilities, the old general abilities have been reworked some to kind of bring them all up into an interesting balance. And we're going to have Colchis, Carthage, and the Parthians on one side, and then we're going to have Bactria, Macedon, and Suebi on the other. I'm going to slow down the battle for just a moment so I can call out the armies to you. Now, as for player 1, that's their melee player, that's actually going to be Carthage. And Carthage has brought a truly punishing melee line here. A couple of Samnite warriors, a couple of noble fighters, which are tremendously powerful infantry, and then an interesting new general unit that's available for Carthage, which is the Mercenary Guard. Look how cool this unit is. It's like a combination of assets. I see like Gallic-looking assets. Like this guy looks kind of Roman, like maybe he got pulled over, and then we've got desert assets in here too, like the Shotel swords, and I mean just really cool stuff. A really interesting unit, almost some Numidian look to some of them there as well. So a really cool unit for Carthage. You can see that general right there. So I like this. And the Mercenary Guard is basically a real tanky sword unit, like plenty of armor. They've got pretty solid attack, like just an interesting kind of a tank unit for Carthage. So yeah, nice sword line for Carthage. Colchis is pulling up the skirmish and the spears. They have Eastern spears up front, a couple of units of Eastern slingers. Colchian hoplites backing that up as well. So you can see some of those out on the flanks. Colchian hoplites, nothing special, just a kind of a standard run-of-the-mill hoplite. The Colchians did bring a noble blood cavalry for their general, and I know that that's not a missile or a spear unit, but you can do that. That is one of the rules, because some factions, obviously, they only have certain options for their generals. And then for Parthia, they have a royal cataphract general, an armored horse archer, a noble blood cav, and on the other flank, it looks like we have some armored horse archers and Sarmatian horse archers giving chase to the mercenary Scythian horse archers. And let's go take a look at the other side here. We got Rhodian slingers for Macedon, which is playing player 2. They're backed up by Levy pikes. And then Suebi is playing player 1. And Suebi have a lot of very affordable melee infantry. So they've got 3 club levy, and there's 3 round shield swords. And then back here we have 3 units of Bloodsworn, a berserker, and a Wodeness spear general, so that is a lot of melee infantry for the Suebi. Now, their infantry tends to be a little bit glass cannony, but still, that's a lot, and numbers are a big deal in this game mode. And then as for Bactria, they have a Hellenic cataphract, a Bactrian horse archer general, which, again, these are horse archers with pretty decent melee attack, have a medium weight, and then there's Bactrian noble horse. Bactrian noble horse is very potent melee cavalry. There's 2 of those. All right, let's go ahead and let this one unfold, and we're going to see how the skirmishing gets underway here. The Rhodian slingers are going to be very capable, but they are 3-2 here, but I mean, they might still be able to do okay. They're very, very capable units. You're going to see the Levy pikes move up front, and we've got a horse archer skirmish out here on the flanks that not going great for Parthia at the moment. Looks like both players have lost maybe a unit of their horse archers so far. And then we got Eastern spears blocking up front, so I guess this is just to make sure for each side they don't want their skirmishers being charged, and the pikemen can certainly dissuade that. The downside about moving pikemen forward is that they're also very prone to missile fire, and they will take tremendous damage. They've got club levy backing them up, so this is a pretty interesting 1-2 combo here. You got the pikemen to hold and the club levy to try and move through and deal some damage. Parthia making some overtures of flanking here on the right flank of the red-bannered or away team. And here comes the clash. So the Eastern Spears are going to go head-to-head with the Club Levy. Club Levy ought to smash the Eastern Spears pretty handily. And then they're backed up by those Levy pikes. And then here comes Carthage's main infantry line, their Mercenary Guard, Samnites, and Noble Fighters, all moving up. And interesting enough, that Mercenary Guard just goes straight forward, which is going to be a dangerous move here, because those pikes are right there. So that could get this mercenary guard beat up a little. We'll see, though. It looks like, yeah, the Eastern Spears are pulling back. But it does look like those mercenary noble fighters were trying to get the flank, but then the hoplite came to intercede there. So at the moment, Carthage did engage the club levy, which has allowed the pikemen to get in there. I would love to see a flanking maneuver to get around those pikes. Now, obviously, though, the Suebi would probably follow that up by charging whatever came around. We got hammer and anvil going on here for Macedon, which, depending on the unit, it can increase one's bracing and then increases the charge. The other is also a relentless that's been popped here for the home team, and that's going to increase attack across the board. But you'll notice with the attack increased, a lot of the units are actually somewhat disengaged at the moment. There was a round shield sword that came up, and those noble fighters decided to go for them instead of the hoplite. So we'll see how that goes. Noble fighters don't have great survivability, but they do hit really hard in a melee. But these ones are not doing spectacularly. Round shield swords are actually pretty decent for their cheap price. And then that hoplite's combining with them, so that mercenary guard there getting a little bit shredded up. So the infantry of Carthage so far has not been amazing in the face of all of these enemies. And look at this, Suebi just kind of sitting on the reserves, and see, this is where numbers can come in handy. Right now the home team is having to throw all these units in here, and they're all taking damage, and the Suebi are just sitting back here on fresh units. They do have a fast charge. If they use that right, that could be a really big deal. They've got Pride in there as well, which increases armor piercing damage. Those Bactrian Noble Horse ended up getting outnumbered over here by Noble Blood Cavalry. There's 2 of them, and Bactrian Noble Horse is quite good, but it's not going to take down 2 Noble Blood Cavalry. And those Hellenic Cataphracts over here, they've got Battle Rhythm and the Trample turned on there. They could combine nicely with those Alexandrian abilities. See, there's an Anvil again. Anvil is going to improve armor, bracing, melee defense, makes them unbreakable for a short time too. So those Royal Peltist are supposed to be acting as an anvil here, but they're being chased off by the Royal Cataphract. So they won't be able to get in there and make the difference yet. It's Bactrian Horse Archers firing away at the Royal Cataphracts. So it does look like the infantry for Carthage is going to clean its way through. They took some damage in doing so. But here comes that second wave. Those Berserkers got shot up bad, and they're actually going Berserk, I think, from all the missile damage. Look at that Bactrian Noble Horse just making an absolute beeline for those Eastern Archers. They're going to get there. So there will be some cavalry to come and try and take care of that. Here comes the Fast Charge and Pride. It's been popped here. So it's going to be extra armor piercing, and then the Fast Charge underway, so we should see the increased speed. And then that'll change into attack and charge bonus here shortly. It's almost like they're waiting for it. Yeah, there it goes. The weapon damage is coming up. Well, actually, that's... yeah, the charge bonus is up, so the Suebi might want to go ahead and make the charge while they still have it. So this would be an opportune moment for the Suebi to connect that fast charge. Looks like that Bloodsworn did get a pretty good charge there, and then here comes the Wodenaz Spears. Wodenaz Spears are brutal on the charge. Look at all that extra AP damage they had too, all the way up at 42 weapon damage. That is gruesome. Look at that, 61 kills. Yeah, Suebi on fast charge are absolutely merciless. But, I mean, there's a fair bit of Carthaginian infantry left, and this is some pretty tanky infantry. Not huge numbers, but the 3 of these combine into be pretty good numbers, and I think they're going to beat back those round shields, and then this Bloodsworn should charge really well into the Colchians. If they get some support, they'll continue to do well. Boy, that Wodenaz Spear is on an absolute killing spree right now. Those Colchian Hoplites need to go and assist. And over here on the flank, the Bactrian Horse Archers got caught and started to get torn up by armored Horse Archers, Noble Blood Cav, but there's a Hellenic Cataphract out here that's making life miserable. And those Bloodsworn are coming out to throw their weight around, and it looks like there's a Royal Cataphract and a Noble Blood Cavalry headed out there as well, so a big engagement taking place there. Let's continue to watch the main line here. Wodenaz Spears crashing back into those Colchian Hoplites. And they do have a good charge bonus, so I would expect them to rack up some kills there. Yeah, the Wodenaz Spears are doing pretty good. They're well up over 100 kills. There's a lot of skirmishers here left for the home team, though. I don't imagine that's going to bode well for the Suebi. This one's out of ammunition. And it looks like the Eastern Archers are still firing away. I believe that Slinger still has ammo. This one may as well, so we'll kind of see how that plays out, but I think right now the home team's in a pretty good position to finish this one up. It was a pretty close fight. I do like how the Swaby kept some reserves in there, but in this case it almost seems like maybe the fast charge reserves came in just a little bit late, and perhaps had they been there earlier while some of their other troops were still fighting, they could have overwhelmed Carthage entirely. But they may have also been fighting to try and, really shut down the whole cavalry piece and stuff. So I thought this was a pretty interesting fight. It's going to end up being fairly close. These Hellenic Cataphracts won't do great in a prolonged melee against the Noble Blood Cav, but there's still a pretty good fight that's going to go in a battle rhythm. That'll help. Lancers don't have the best weapon damage. They really rely on their charge, whereas if you go and look at these melee cavalry like the Noble Blood Cav, well, theirs is not any better. Yeah, they're just usually not as reliant on that charge bonus, because you can see right now that the battle rhythm is what's making the Hellenic Cataphract get such a high attack. So you typically get that higher attack, and then there's a bonus versus large is higher on the melee cav, which essentially keeps adding to those stats. So it'll be close. Those Wodenaz ended up with a pretty spectacular performance there, almost 170 kills. So really nice job. Good play by both sides. Man, this mod and this game mode is fun. If you all want to play this, again, I've got a link down in the description to the Gathering Stone Discord that Soul runs. There's people playing there all the time. I've played with them a couple of times. I can't wait. I don't get a lot of time, but I can't wait for the next time I get to, because, man, it's fun. Like, it really is fun. And there's good players there. There's folks who will give you good advice. There's voice chat rooms where you can get in and actually coordinate things. It really is a good time. So appreciate Ninja Keeper of War, Hannibal's Heir. Hey, I like this name. And then Vortigant Sauce, Booty, and Massamax. I've played with several of these, so that's cool. Anyway, fun game here. Let's take a look at Ninja Keeper's army. Good work with that Noble Blood Cav. Nice work with the skirmishers. I think the Hoplites did their job and just kind of helped hold the line along with the Carthaginian line. Let's take a look at War's cavalry here. Really nice work with that Armored Horse Archer. Got a lot of kills. Good work with the Noble Blood Cav. And then Hannibal's Heir here. I mean, that Noble Fighter right there was owning. It turned into a tough fight for Carthage. When you go with low numbers and high quality, it can get dangerous in this game mode. And Carthage almost paid the price there, but they did get enough kills that ended up being worth it. But you can see here just by numbers, the Swaby were over 2-1 outnumbering Carthage, and it is hard to get 2-1 kills against the Swaby. So interesting one there. It worked out this time, albeit Carthage did take a pretty sturdy beat down in some of those fights. Vortigant Sauce here rolling in with the Swaby. I love the whole numbers play here. It's a little trickier. It's going to require a little micro, but numbers are a big deal in this game mode, and that was a pretty fun play with those. And then Booty here bringing up the Bactrian Cav. Nice work with them. Wasn't quite able to completely overcome. Early on, though, I thought it was some good work with the Horse Archers. Got some nice kills. I think Bactria is an excellent faction for this. And then Massamax coming in with that Macedon support role here. And I do like the Pikes combining with the Club Levy. That was a cool trick. Really thought that was a pretty interesting way to see that one played out. But thank you to everybody who played. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.